We are on the record outside the presence of the jury with all counsel, Mr. Liggins present. I'm going to share and talk a little bit about housekeeping matters. I would also state for the record that the 2 times that we had sidebars today have been related to scheduling type issues and not substantive issues. Is that correct, counsel?
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor.
All right. What are we going to do with the remainder of the day for scheduling?
Your Honor, we do have several out-of-town witnesses, and we've reached an agreement that at least 2 of those witnesses we can call now in the middle of Don Schaefer's testimony, and we call Don Schaefer tomorrow morning if that's what we need to do.
Mr. Lawmaker, you agree?
We are, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, as I think we talked about earlier, trials are fluid, which means we try to change things as we see fit and as necessary. So right now we're going to have Mr. Schaefer adjourn from the stand. He's not finished yet. We're going to finish him tomorrow morning. We're going to call 2 other witnesses to try and get some smaller witnesses in today. And I think the state has 2 witnesses to call. And this is for agreement of both parties. Mr. Holmes?
Your Honor, the state calls Tom out to the stand.
I'll get it right, yeah, Ms. Holmes.
Come forward and be sworn, please.
Mr. Odd, could you just come right up, please? Raise your right hand, please swear. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Go ahead when you're ready.
Thank you. Tell us your name, please.
Thomas G. Ott,
Can you spell your last name for us?
OTT.
Are you currently working?
No, I'm retired from the Rock Island Police Department.
When did you retire from the Rock Island Police Department?
Approximately 10 years ago.
So you were working as a Rock Island police officer on September 17th of 1990?
Yes.
Will you briefly review for us your training, education, and experience in law enforcement prior to September of 1990?
Attended Rock Island High School, after which I joined the U.S. Army, was a military policeman, went through their academies. After that, after separation from the Army, attended Blackhawk College, applied for the police department in Rock Island, was accepted, went to the University of Illinois, where the academy was for police officers. I've been through field training officer programs, crime scene technician programs, supervisory schools, as each time I was promoted, and numerous others that the department offered training for.
On September 17th of 1990, what division of the Rock Island Police Department were you working?
I was working in the patrol division as a patrolman.
And what shift?
It would have been second shift.
Were you assigned to a particular area of Rock Island?
I don't recall on that particular night, but it was full park.
What does that mean?
I could go anywhere in the city that I wished to help out other officers if there was a serious call.
You would have been in a marked squad car,
Yes.
wearing a police uniform?
Yes.
What I want to do then is draw your attention to events occurring around 9 p.m. Were you at some point made aware of a missing child in Rock Island at approximately that time?
Yes, we were.
And how were you made aware?
There was a telecommunication center made a broadcast to dispatch an officer to residents on 7th Avenue, which goes out to all the cars.
So, and do you know who was actually dispatched to the child's home?
Yes, I do.
Who was that?
Officer Bruce Johnston.
Were you dispatched with reference to this incident?
Yes, myself and several other officers.
Where were you first dispatched?
I met with the officers at Mac Liquor Store on 11th Street in Rock Island.
Do you know what time you arrived at Mac's Liquor Store?
Approximately 21:57 hours, and just a few minutes before 10 p.m.
Okay, so 9:57 p.m.
Yes,
And you went to Mac's Liquor Stores.
yes.
What I'm going to do now is show you a photograph that's marked State's Proposed Exhibit 67. Tell me whether or not you recognize that.
This is a picture of Mac's Liquor in the front.
Is that how it looked in September of 1990?
Yes.
And then identify State's Proposed Exhibit 66, please. And what is that?
This is a picture of a sign outside identifying Mac's Liquor, and it's taken looking in a northerly direction
And
from the store.
toward Davenport?
Yes,
And is that how Mac's Liquor, or that view, looked on September 17th of 1990?
yes.
I offer State's Exhibits 66 and 67 into evidence for
No objection, Your Honor.
66 and 67 are amended.
now I'd like to publish them. Let's go ahead and play. Let's go to 67. Okay, so now we're looking, Mr. Ott, at State's Exhibit 67, and again, you've identified this as what?
This is Mac's Liquor Store.
What street in Rock Island is this on?
This is on 11th Street.
And can you,
Photograph taken from 11th Street looking in a westerly direction.
and can you describe generally what kind of street 11th Street is in Rock Island?
It is Highway 67. It's a four-lane highway. It's also known as 11th Street in Rock Island. It carries north-south traffic.
A main thoroughfare then.
Yes,
And we're looking here at the front door area, is that right?
yes.
All right, now let's see State's Exhibit 66 that you've already described. All right, so now we're looking at State's Exhibit 66, and you've already described in the record what the view is, but remind us what we're looking at here.
This is a sign in front of Mac's Liquor that identifies it. It's taken in a northerly direction, and that would be headed towards Davenport.
And so and again, we're looking at 11th Street that you described as the four-lane highway.
Yes,
And then the front door is here, but we can't really see it along the left side of the photograph. Is that right?
yes.
So you responded to Mac's Liquors at about 3 minutes to 10 on September 17th, 1990. And all right, so now we're looking at State's Exhibit 66, and you've already described in the record what the view is, but remind us what we're looking at here.
This is a sign in front of Mac's Liquor that identifies it. It's taken in a northerly direction, and that would be headed towards Davenport.
And so and again, we're looking at 11th Street that you described as the four-lane highway.
Yes,
And then the front door is here, but we can't really see it along the left side of the photograph, is that right?
Yes.
So you responded to Max Liquors at about 3 minutes to 10 on September 17th, 1990. And you said this was in reference to the missing girl in Rock Island.
That is correct.
And what was your understanding of the relevance of Max Liquors to the missing girl?
The initial investigation had determined that she had gone to Max Liquor to purchase a gun. Other officers, Officer Dusenberry, was at Max Liquor when I arrived. And I went into the store, he was talking to the clerk, and I was listening to his interview with the clerk at that time.
And did the clerk give you information about, and did you have the name of the missing child at that time?
I do not know her full name, but I knew it was Jennifer.
Did the clerk have information about Jennifer that she was giving Officer Dusenberry?
Yes, she did. She said that she
That's just a yes or no. Thank you. And do you know the name of the clerk that Officer Dusenberry was talking to?
Charlotte McRae.
And then at some point, did you leave Max and continue with regard to the incident of the missing girl?
Yes, I did.
Where did you go next?
The clerk had mentioned that sometimes children also go to a bait shop in the area to buy candy because they can get more for their money. The bait shop is approximately half a block away in an alleyway. I went there and the store was closed.
And then after that, did you become involved in a canvass of the area in Rock Island near the missing girl, near Jennifer's home?
Yes, Officer Johnson had related that during his investigation, it determined that Jennifer had friends that lived in the immediate area of her house.
So did you go to the area where she was believed to have been meeting with friends during the daytime?
Yes, I did.
And did you speak to a Diane Pemberton?
Yes, I did.
Did you also speak to a Beverly Hall?
Yes, I did.
And did you have anything with you to confirm that you and whoever that you might talk to would be talking about the same Jennifer?
Yes, I did. A Xerox copy of her photograph that I showed the individuals that I spoke to.
And when you showed Beverly Hall and Diane Pemberton, Jennifer's photograph, did they acknowledge the photograph and indicate that they recognized her?
Yes, they did.
And did they provide you information about Jennifer?
Yes, they did.
After receiving the information from Beverly Hall and Diane Pemberton, did you at that point have information about a vehicle that you thought would be important to the investigation?
Yes, I did.
Did you relay the vehicle information to other officers?
Yes, I did.
And was that part of the investigation?
Yes.
And did relating the vehicle identification or description, did that assist other officers in determining what their next move might be that evening?
Yes, it would.
And what was the description of the vehicle that you relayed to other officers?
Mrs. Hall described the vehicle as a newer, smaller car. She didn't know it was a four-door, but she didn't know if it was foreign or domestic. And she knew that the license plate number, the last four digits, she believed was 7374.
And did she give you a color of the vehicle?
She thought it was maroon.
How about Mrs. Pemberton, Diane Pemberton? Did she give you information as well about a vehicle?
Yes, she described a similar vehicle, and she described it as dark red. and having an antenna on the trunk, which made it similar to what a police car would have. She did not provide me any license information or any other identifying feature.
And it was your understanding, based on talking to these, Ms. Pemberton and Ms. Hall, that this car had had interaction, or the driver of this car had had interaction with Jennifer earlier in the day?
Yes,
Now, you would have relayed that information quickly upon receiving it, is that right?
yes, it was then given to the dispatch center and they would broadcast it to the other cars, and then it would have been passed on to the oncoming shift.
Then you did a written report as well?
Yes,
And did you submit it to your supervisor?
yes,
And would your supervisor, did your supervisor sign off on it once he received it?
yes,
And would the date and time of the receipt of that report be in the report?
yes.
Do you recall what time, date and time that was?
No, I just know remember it was signed by Sergeant Foggy.
Okay, L-A-G-E?
Yes,
If you were able to look at your report, would that refresh your recollection as to when the report was reviewed by Sergeant Loggy?
yes,
And handing you your reports. And when does your report indicate that the information regarding Ms. Pemberton and Ms. Hall and the vehicle that became of interest, when did that get reviewed by Sergeant Loggy?
it was signed and approved by Sergeant Foggy on 9/18 of 90 at 15:30 hours.
So that's September 18th of 1990 at 3:30 p.m.?
Yes,
And you would have talked to these two women, Ms. Hall and Ms. Pemberton, on the 17th, the prior evening, after you talked to Ms. McCray.
yes, that's correct.
I have no further questions for you, Mr. Ott. These attorneys may.
Mr. Lawmaker?
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
On the screen, we have State Exhibit 67. You've already described that as being Max Liquor Store. Where?
Yes,
Okay, so have you been inside that store?
yes, sir.
Okay, is it a very big place?
No, sir.
It looks, at least by all accounts, it's you know how deep it goes, at least the customer area?
As you're viewing the store from this angle, probably just a little more than halfway to the rear, looking on the right side of the building there.
And that's not unusual for businesses, so the back portion presumably would be for storage and inventory and that sort of thing. And the front half of that building would have been for the retail part. Is that fair?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So visually then, if you're in that store, I'm assuming if you're a clerk or something like that, it's not too hard to identify who's in the store.
Correct.
It's not like we're talking about a Walmart or something, right?
Correct.
Okay. Now, as I understand it, I'm trying to get my directions together here. As we're facing Max Liquor Store, what direction are we facing?
We are facing in a westerly direction.
The right-hand side of that store would be the north,
Correct.
as in Exhibit 67, and the left-hand side would be the south, correct?
Correct.
I can't tell if the sign up there with the arrow, and then I see a car sticking out on the left-hand side, not the blue one, but you see the lighter colored one back there? On the left-hand side?
No, I don't.
I'm going to try a little better to point it out. I'm using a laser pointer here. You have the blue car on the left-hand side.
Correct.
Do you see that car parked there?
were sitting there,
No.
in between the building and there? No?
Okay, I can see the slope of the windshield, yes.
Right, I know.
Sun's leaning off.
You made me look at it a second time too. And then there's an arrow up on the right-hand side, correct?
I still don't see the,
Did they have a drive-through?
yes, it would be on the side of the building when you pointed out the car.
Okay. And so, is there parking there on the north side, south side, both sides of the building?
If I recall correctly, the lot's very narrow, and generally people didn't stay for a long time. It was just run in and run out.
And so if they parked there, but there was parking on both the north and south side of that building, is that fair?
Correct. On the south side of the building, it's very narrow. The drive almost covers the sidewalk.
When you canvassed the area, did you, do you know where the Glens were?
No, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I have no redirect. Thank you. State call the Antonio Home. Come forward and please stand, please.
You swear to affirm and tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, that's
Thank you. Tell us your name, please.
Antonio Holmes,
Please spell your first name for us
ANTONIO,
and your last name.
HOLES.
Mr. Holmes, where do you currently live?
2360 West Bud, East Bud,
In what city?
Davenport,
Are you currently employed? Where do you work?
TDR Fridays.
People probably know what that is, but why don't you tell us what kind of business TGI Fridays is?
It's a restaurant on Circuit
You're a server, waiter? Where's that located?
in Moline, Illinois.
Have you lived in the Quad Cities area your whole life?
Yes.
What I'm going to do is draw your attention to events occurring on September 17th of 1990. Where were you living in September 17th of 1990?
In Davenport on Pelican Drive.
Can you describe for us, we've heard about Jefferson School in Davenport, you know where that is, don't you?
Yes.
And St. Ambrose College, you know where that is?
Yes.
Can you tell the jury in relation to that area where Heatherton would be?
Pelican would be farther west. Probably about 4 miles farther west.
Did you go to Rock Island on September 17th of 1990?
Yes.
And can you tell us, how did you get to Rock Island?
I drove
What sort of vehicle did you have?
at a Datsun.
And we've heard about the bridges that connect Davenport to Rock Island. What bridge did you use to go from Davenport to Rock Island on September 17th?
The Arsenal Bridge.
The Arsenal Bridge? Does that bridge charge any toll?
No.
What time were you crossing into Rock Island on September 17th of 1990?
It was around 5:50 in the afternoon.
5:50 p.m.?
Yes.
And how do you know to reference a time with regard to that day?
There's used to be a big clock, digital clock in the Quad City Times building.
So the Quad City Times, that's our local paper,
Yes.
and the building from the Quad City Times is quite close to the Arsenal Bridge.
Yes.
And within sight of that, they had a big clock.
Yes.
And you recall that when you were crossing the bridge on September 17th, 1990, it said 5:50 p.m.?
Yes.
Where did you go first?
When I first went to Rock Island, I went to Manafort.
And when did you go?
Manafort.
Can you tell the jury what sort of place Manor Courts is?
It was an apartment complex.
Where in Rock Island was Manor Courts located?
I believe it's on 28th Street.
Is it near downtown Rock Island?
No, it's quite a few blocks away from now.
Okay. And so you went to Manor Courts. What time, how long did you stay at Manor Courts?
Wasn't that long. I went to see a friend of mine who wasn't home, so.
Then where did you go after Manor Courts?
To Walgreens.
And what was your purpose in going to Walgreens?
I was going to buy a CD. I'm sorry, a cassette tape.
That cassette tape?
Yes.
This is before CDs.
Right.
You went into Walgreens then?
Yes.
Where was Walgreens located?
It's 11th Street. I think it's like 24th Avenue, 11th Street.
In Rock Island still. And so you went into Walgreens. Did you get what you intended?
I got your CD, but I had to go to another place to get my other thing.
All right. So what were you going to purchase at Walgreens that you couldn't purchase?
A beer.
And just one beer?
Just a quart beer.
A quart? And how come you weren't successful getting a quart at Walgreens?
Because I didn't have an ID on me at the time.
Did you look pretty young back then?
Yeah.
All right. So you had to go somewhere else to get a quart of beer?
Yes.
Where did you go?
Went to Mass Liquor Store.
You didn't have an ID. What made you think you might be successful getting a quart of beer at Max at that point?
The lady that owns the store knew me.
And she knew you were of age?
Yes.
So you felt confident that she would serve you or allow you to purchase beer at Max?
Yes.
So you drove there, correct?
Yes.
And what we have here displayed is State's Exhibit 67. And do you recognize that?
Yes.
What do we see when we look at State 67?
Oh, that's the front door of Max.
And is that what it looked like on September 17th of 1990?
Yes.
And as you said, you drove there, so you must have parked.
Yes.
Were you by yourself?
Yes.
Where did you park?
On the right side of the store.
Okay, so am I pointing to it here? Over here on the right side, there's an area right here?
Yes.
All right, and this is where you parked your car?
Yes.
Do you recall whether there were any other cars in the parking lot when you went in?
I just noticed her car, and it's always used to be always their car, but the car now.
Whose car was that?
Charlotte.
All right. And that would be, is that Charlotte?
The lady owns it.
And she also works there?
Yes.
And she usually parks her car on the same side of the building?
Yeah, at the very end.
Now we see in this particular photograph, isn't there a van right in front, right?
Yes.
You didn't see any cars there?
No.
And maybe there's a car on the other side. Were there any cars there that you recall?
I didn't notice any other car but the green one.
Okay. And did you notice any person there when you got out of your car?
Yes.
Well, tell us about that.
There was someone standing on the corner, like right on the other side of that ice machine, and that ice sign.
All right, so I'm pointing to the right side of the ice sign. Was the person standing there?
Yes.
And can you describe the person?
It was a black man, taller than me.
Did you say anything to him?
I just walked past him, so I was going.
You said, how's it going? Did that person respond?
I think he might have said, okay. I just walked.
Was anyone else with that person?
No.
Is that person in the courtroom today?
Yeah.
And where's he seated and what's he wearing?
Right there. He's sitting over there.
I'm sorry?
He's sitting up right over there.
Okay, so I'm sitting at one counsel table with my co-counsel, and then right on the other side of the courtroom here next to us is a table with 3 people. Yes?
Yes.
Right. And is the person that you saw outside of Max Liquor at that table?
Yes.
And what sort of eyewear is he wearing?
Dark summer.
And that's who you saw outside of Max Liquor on September 17th, 1990?
Yes.
Was there anyone with him?
No.
Had you ever seen him before?
No.
Did you go into the store?
Yes.
And when you went into the store, was Charlotte there?
Yes.
She was working behind the counter?
Yes.
Was there anyone else there?
There was a little girl in front of me.
And there's a little girl at the counter?
Yes.
And what do you remember about the little girl?
She had dark hair and she was getting some change.
Do you remember anything about what she was wearing?
I believe it was like a light colored top, but that's about it.
Okay. And then did the little girl leave?
Yes.
You you picked out your court or
Well, I had to get it from her.
it's all behind the counter?
Yes.
All right, so you walk up to Charlotte and did what you intended to do, and that was buy a quart of beer.
Right.
Then did you leave?
Yes.
And when you went outside, did you see the little girl?
No.
And did you see the man sitting at this table anymore?
No.
What did you do?
Got in the car now.
Where did you go to?
Went to Davenport.
Where in Davenport?
Out to a place called Spring Village.
Describe for the jury what Spring Village
This
is.
is an apartment complex in Davenport. A friend of mine lived out there.
And how long were you there?
Probably 45 minutes, just enough to sit and talk and drink my beer.
Then where'd you go?
Home.
And was there anything you had in mind to do when you got back home?
I was going to watch football game that night.
This was Monday night.
Yes.
You're going to watch Monday Night Football?
Yes.
What time did the football finish? Was it broadcast, Monday Night Football?
Started at 8 o'clock.
And did you get there, how much before the game started?
I got there probably 15 to 10 minutes before the game started.
Did you remain there the rest of the night?
Yes.
Now, at some point, did you return to Max Liquors?
A few days later.
And did you once again see Charlotte?
Yes.
And did anything remarkable happen with regard to your interaction with Charlotte at that time?
We discussed that the incident that happened with the little girl on Monday, and she said she was standing right in front of you when you were in. So
And what did that do with
it
regard
just made me think about, what had happened that night,
And so what did you do with that knowledge?
I contacted the Rock Island Police Department
And why did you contact the Rock Island Police Department?
because I thought what I saw probably was important.
Did you speak to an officer? And you think this was a couple of days after Monday night?
Yes,
And did you speak with an officer that night?
I believe I did.
And then what happened with regard to this incident?
The Davenport Police Department came to pick me up, and they took me to the police station.
What happened then?
They interviewed me for a while, and then they showed me some pictures.
And out of the pictures, were you able to pick out the individual that you saw outside of Max Liquors?
Yes.
Did you speak with officers again about the incident?
The next day I did.
Okay, so that you went, you saw the pictures, you picked out a photograph, then the next day you spoke with officers?
Yes.
Why did you do that? How did that come about?
I did because the night when I was being interviewed, I had been drinking a little bit, and I just wanted to be sure that what I saw was what I saw.
And so you expressed this to the officers on that second time, the next day? Did they show you more photographs or
Yes.
photographs again? Did you have a chance to look at the photographs? And what did you tell them about the photograph?
That's the same that I saw.
So at that point, were you sure? Did you feel sure about it?
Yes.
And you went down there because you wanted to be certain. You wanted to express with them that you had some concerns that you'd been drinking the night before, the first drink of the first interview. Is that right?
Yes.
And you wanted to go down and talk with them again.
Yes, just to ease my own mind. Just to ease my mind.
Mr. Holmes, on September 17th of 1990, were you on probation?
Yes.
What happened to your probation shortly after you interviewed and spoke to the police?
It was revoked in 1963.
What does revoked mean?
That means I didn't fulfill all the obligations of my probation.
And you were sent to prison on that probation?
Yes.
Excuse me. And you've testified in a couple trials before, in 92 and 93, isn't that right?
Yes.
And during that time period, you had had an arrest, isn't that right? And I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Proposed Exhibit 119. And does 119 look familiar to you?
Yes.
And is that's a plea agreement, isn't it, between you and the Scott County Attorney's Office?
Yes.
And that's in reference to an arrest that you had in 92, is that correct?
Yes.
And this indicates that you were charged with theft first and burglary second, and you pled to operate a motor vehicle without owner's consent, and count 2 was dismissed, isn't that right?
Yes.
And that's signed by you and dated November 24th of 92?
Yes.
I offer State's Exhibit 119.
No objection.
Exhibit 119 is submitted.
Since testifying and up to even this current time, you've had further arrests, haven't you?
Yes.
And you've gone to prison a few times since then, isn't that right?
Yes.
Have you ever received anything from the Scott County Attorney's Office or any other law enforcement in exchange for your cooperation in this case?
No.
In fact, there have been some harsh imprisonment for you, hasn't there?
Yes.
And are you on parole currently?
Yes.
And as you said, you've been to prison a few times.
Yes.
While you were in prison with the Iowa Department of Corrections, did you ever have any interaction with any Muslim organizations?
No.
Did you have any interaction with any religious organizations at all?
No.
And did you ever have any participation or go to anything with regard to something called the Moorish Science Temple?
No.
Moorish spelled M-O-O-R-I-S-H.
No.
I have no further questions for you, Mr. Holmes. These attorneys may have some questions. Thank you.
Mr. Buckaker?
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, sir. State's Exhibit 7 is up on the screen. You know, your bearings there, east, south, north, west, that sort of thing?
Yeah.
As you're staring at that building, what direction are you facing?
Well, the way we'll be facing, that would be west.
Okay. And so then if you parked on the right-hand side of the building, I think your testimony was, that'd be the north side, correct?
Let me stop.
So the right-hand side of the building, you believe is the south side,
Yes.
and we're facing west. So the left-hand side would be the north-hand side, is that right?
Yes.
State's Exhibit 119. Sorry, I wanted to make sure it was, yeah, I thought I heard it was there. This is the plea agreement that you reached with the state of Iowa, correct?
All right.
Now, at the time, you were facing theft in the first degree and burglary in the second degree, and you pled to motor vehicle without owner's consent. Were you represented by an attorney?
Yes.
And did that, I'm assuming you thought there was a bargain in that plea agreement, correct?
I thought it was my best interest this time.
Because there was a substantial reduction in the amount of time you were facing, wasn't there?
Yes.
Were you informed that theft in the first degree was a Class C felony that could carry up to 10 years in prison?
Yes.
Were you informed that burglary in the second degree was also a Class C felony that carry up to 10 years in prison?
Yes.
And are you familiar with the term boxcar?
Yes.
Okay, what's it mean from a prison sentence perspective, what boxcar means?
I would have been doing 20 years.
So you have to discharge your first 10-year sentence before you start the second one, don't you?
Yes.
And you didn't plead to 2 counts, you pled to just 1 count of operating a motor vehicle without owner's consent, right?
Yes.
And that's not even a felony, correct?
No.
Okay, and that's what's known as an aggravated misdemeanor. Were you informed of that?
Yes.
And then the worst that could happen to you was 2 years in prison, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And so that was a fairly substantial inducement. You got a good deal, didn't you?
I believe I did.
Yeah, you're pretty happy with it, I guess.
Yes.
Okay. And part of the special condition of that plea agreement was in paragraph 2. Let me approach so you're not trying to trick you, but paragraph 2. You were to provide full and truthful testimony in any trial you may be called as a witness, right?
Yes.
Okay. Have you been called as a witness in other trials?
No.
Just this one, right?
Yeah, besides the one.
Right, besides your own. Do you know if you've ever been listed as a witness in any other trial and you've never been called to testify besides Mr. Liggins, right?
Once a long time ago in Rock Island.
Okay. How about this? It was signed by you on November 24th of 1992, correct?
Yes, sir.
And then it's also signed by a prosecuting attorney on there, is that correct?
Yes.
And that says Julie Walton Fair?
Yes.
But it says Julie Walton for HJP, right? Do you know who HJP is?
No.
Was there a different prosecuting attorney that started off with this case?
It could have been, I'm not sure.
Okay. So the 4-HCP, the entire time that you were dealing with this case, was it your understanding with your attorney that it was Ms. Walton that was prosecuting it, or was somebody else?
It was something my attorney at the time was handling.
You don't know what the 4-HCP means, do you?
No.
Okay. The first trial was in February of 1993. Do you have any reason to disagree with that?
No.
And the plea agreement that you entered into was in November of 1992. Again, you want to read and disagree with that?
No.
And you were known to law enforcement, and they talked to you as early as September of 1990, correct?
Yes.
We actually went to the police on the 21st of September, which is the first time you went in, correct?
Yes, sir.
And that's when they showed you a photo lineup and you say that you identified Mr. Liggins. Fair enough?
Yes.
Then you went the next day. They didn't ask you to come back, did they?
No.
They weren't encouraging you to come back. They didn't ask you to come back to see if you were sure that's something you did on your own.
Yeah.
They didn't say, Mr. Holmes, go sober up and come back tomorrow and see if you still think the same way. It's just something you did on your own.
Yeah.
You remember law enforcement was asking you if you could identify who the individual that you saw or what the individual you saw was wearing. Remember that?
Yeah.
Okay. And you remember that you described it to them. And the first time you met with them is blue jeans and possibly a short sleeve white sweatshirt. Does that ring a bell?
Yeah.
Okay, in fact, at the time that in the 1993 trial, did you explain that he was wearing a light colored top and jeans?
That's not.
So you're convinced that the individual you saw was wearing the light colored top and jeans?
I'm sorry, if we're referring to prior testimony, then I would ask that the witness be allowed to review the transcript and be impeached properly.
Go ahead.
Absolutely. First one, page 258. Yeah, line 15. So the 1993 trial, was your testimony then when asked, and what was he wearing, if you recall? It was a light colored top and jeans.
Okay.
Was that your testimony?
Yeah.
And you were asked again then,
Objection, same objection.
hold on. As you sit here today, do you have a specific recollection as to what the individual you saw that day was wearing?
I believe jeans and a light colored top.
So regardless of what your prior testimony was and things like that, that's your memory today.
That's what I remember.
Have you ever, did you ever tell law enforcement that second day that you went in, you told them that you'd been drinking, correct?
Yes.
And you'd been drinking enough that you were concerned that it might, I'm assuming, have affected your memory or your perception and ability to determine who was outside that building, correct?
I told him I was concerned.
But the reason you went in is because the drinking may have affected your ability to see what you believe you saw, correct?
I wasn't drinking at the time, so
All right. But when you talked to them,
I
correct?
had been drinking, yes.
Okay. And did you tell them that you were unsure if that was Mr. Liggins outside the liquor store the second time you went back?
I said I wasn't, it was uncertain.
Okay. And did you tell them, do you recall, telling those officers that you were unsure?
I recall believing I was uncertain. I wanted to make sure for my own peace of mind that was the person I saw.
Okay. Now, you had an additional hearing in February of 1999. Do you remember that?
question was you had an initial hearing in February 1989.
You've had a chance to testify again since the 93 trial and the 95 trial, correct?
I believe so, yeah, I believe so.
Were you asked a question while you were under oath in 1999?
Again, Your Honor, I oppose the same objection. This is a transcript of his testimony. He should be allowed to review it. I haven't been told the page or the line.
I'll tell you that. It is the 1999, February 12th, page 243 to line 10. And Your Honor, I think I have the ability to ask him the question in front of the transcript that he needs.
Well, he has a transcript, so if he's being asked whether or not it's a question, it's a fact.
Okay, wait. Mr. Hallbaker can ask the question. You can see what the answer is. At some point, you can go back and try and rehabilitate it if you'd like, if it is a true impeachment. Go ahead, Mr. Hallbaker.
Do you remember being asked, have you ever told anyone that you really did not see Mr. Liggins outside the liquor store and answering no?
Repeat the question.
Do you remember being asked, have you ever, now let me remind you, this 99 questions are being asked, you were under oath. Do you remember being asked, have you ever told anyone that you really did not see Mr. Liggins outside the store?
Objection.
Your answer
What
was no.
page and line is this?
The same one I just told you.
It's an inaccurate reading. Is it line 13?
No, I'm at 10. Have you ever told anyone that you really did not see Mr. Liggins outside the liquor store? And you answered no. Do you recall that?
Yes.
Do you recall being asked, have you ever told anyone that you really were not sure it was Mr. Liggins outside of that liquor store? And you answered no. Do you remember that?
Yes.
You remember being asked never, and your answer being no. You remember that?
Yes.
And do you recall being asked, you don't recall ever telling a Rock Island detective that you were not sure about your identification, and your answer was no. Do you recall that?
Yes.
So in 1999, you're denying any of those statements at all, fair?
Yes, that's what it says.
Do you have any reason to doubt when I was just reading the transcript? Maybe I'll show it to you. Take a second to read it. You don't have to say anything out loud. Just tell me when you're done. Do you have any reason to doubt that transcript?
No.
Okay. So in 1999, you're denying that you ever said those things to the police, correct?
What did I deny?
And you're denying that you told anybody, police department or otherwise, that you weren't sure it was Mr. Liggins. You're denying that in 1999, correct?
All right.
Did you know, sir, that your interview with the Rock Island Police Department was being recorded?
I didn't know that. I don't doubt it was not.
And if it was recorded, would it represent would it help,
Objection, Your Honor, sorry.
I'm not even
He may, wait.
I'm not even asking
He
a
asked
question.
a question.
I know, but I'd like this sidebar.
Listen. Okay, sir, I'm going to talk to you about that second time that you were talking to the police. First time you intoxicated and went back the second time, I'm assuming you're sober the second time you went there, is that right? Did you tell the police that after you went to Brady Village and some Manor Homes that you left there and you said, I went to Walgreens and bought a bottle of spray and went down to Dunkin' liquor store? Did you tell the police that?
No, I don't understand that.
Where's Dunkin' liquor store?
Well, it's called Max. Max the Dunkin's.
And did you tell the police when asked who was in there, Max liquor store, let me retract that. Okay, when you were asked the question, was the man, in any context, we showed you several mugshot photographs of various individuals, and you picked out a picture that turned out to be a gentleman by the name of Stanley Liggins. Is that correct? And you answered right. Do you remember that line of questioning the officer?
Yes.
Then you were asked, was the man you saw standing outside, was that the man you saw standing outside the store? Do you recall answering, I'm not sure?
I don't recall that.
Do you recall being shown another a picture again of Mr. Liggins and asked, is that the same photograph you identified when you were here? Or did you say in here, same?
I could have said that.
And did you say in response to the question, that picture represents or resembles the guy that you saw? Yeah, but I couldn't swear.
I don't recall saying that.
And when asked, you couldn't be for sure on that, you said right, correct?
That's what I said. I don't remember.
Did you tell law enforcement that when asked, have you ever seen him before? I think I have.
I think I want to take that around somewhere.
John, you're good, coaching.
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, my question for you is, does anybody have a problem who worked about 5 or 5:15? Is there child care issues for anybody? If there is, please let me know. And I'm looking at the jury, everybody's okay with that? Yes? I'm sorry?
I'm okay with it, can I just use the restroom? Is it real for an hour?
No. All right, well, does anybody have a problem staying a little bit later than maybe 5:15? All right. Why don't you guys take a break for about 10 minutes? And then try to start about that time. Keep the admonition in mind, do not discuss the case or continue to keep going on. Thank you guys.
Listen to, it's not.
It's not a video, it's audio,
It's audio.
so it's audio of.
I think we'll enter it in the forward visit. Why I thought on this. Please, bring it up, and I can make a little record on that. Well, it doesn't matter. I would make this just has that MP3 on it. Okay. So at this point, listen to interview maybe, listen to Antonio Holmes speak.
An interview of himself.
Yes. And then we'll mark it as an exhibit. Okay.
Would you want to put anything on the record now about the sidebar?
We probably should, well, it's not a memory.
Yes, correct.
Actually, the sidebar happened after Mr. Holmes had answered the questions and said he didn't remember my memory then, is that I asked for the sidebar and explained to the court that we wanted to allow Mr. Holmes to listen to the audio tape of his testimony to see if it refreshed his memory.
It was actually, it wasn't necessarily testimony, it was a witness statement. It wasn't sworn, correct?
The testimony he's had in this chair, I'm sorry, that's what I'm referring to. And that essentially, we had a discussion. Ultimately, we wanted to try to get it in, but for the purposes of that sidebar, it was agreed to that Mr. Holmes would be allowed to listen to it and not listen to it and not receive questions. He's now had an opportunity to listen to it. So I think we're left with asking questions.
And Ms. Walton had objected to it coming in on the basis of hearsay.
Yes.
All right, I would like both attorneys, prior to this issue coming back when Officer Lindblom testifies, to provide me with any law that they think supports their individual positions. All right. You ready for the jury? You were asking about some photos, and I'm not sure if you want to continue down that line or a different line.
We'll just shift gears.
All right.
Mr. Holmes, you had an opportunity to listen to the interview you had with law enforcement back in 1990 now, haven't you?
Yes.
Okay. And does listening to that audio help you remember what you said back then?
Yes.
And that interview, my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, is when you went back to explain to them that maybe you weren't sure, correct?
Yes.
And you went back because you were intoxicated the day before, correct?
Yes.
And in listening then to that interview, do you remember being asked, was that the man you saw standing outside the store and answering, I'm not sure?
Yes.
And you remember that now, don't you?
Yes.
Okay, and that's what you told law enforcement back then, in September of 1990.
Yes.
And then you remember now being asked in that picture, the picture of Mr. Liggins represents or resembles the guy that you saw? And you answered, yeah, but I couldn't swear. Do you remember that now?
Yes.
Those were your words and your voice on that audio, weren't they?
Yes.
And you then remember being asked, you couldn't be for sure on that? And you answered, right.
Yes.
Now, at no point during that interview did you tell law enforcement, well, now I am sure.
I didn't hear myself say that.
No. The way you left it with law enforcement on that day was them showing you pictures of Mr. Liggins again, you saying, I'm not sure, correct?
Yes.
And then you came, then you testified later after you entered into a plea deal that you then were sure, correct?
That was during deposition, yes.
And at least in the 1999 testimony that you provided, you saw the words yourselves, you wouldn't even acknowledge that you even were asked that question, correct?
I thought we were talking about a different time when I said that.
But we now know what we were talking about as far as that interview is concerned.
Yes, I have said it before, yes.
And after that interview, no, strike that. Was it a transcript of that interview prepared and presented to you?
I don't remember.
A transcript. So nobody gave you a statement or typed up what you said and presented to you, or
Then, yeah, I had one of those. Yeah.
did you actually sign a copy of the statement that was typed up as a result of that interview?
I don't remember signing it.
You were asked if you would sign it after it was typed up, and it was reflected what you said, correct?
Right.
And do you remember if law enforcement came back to you later and said, hey, we've got this typed up, would you sign this?
I don't remember signing, but I could sign it.
You don't have any knowledge of signing off on the statement that you prepared, correct?
I'm not denying I said, I just don't remember signing.
I don't know, Weaver.
You redirect.
Thank you. Mr. Holmes, on September 21st and September 22nd of 1990, you were looking at photographs.
Yes.
Today, you're in a courtroom.
Yes.
You are viewing the defendant in person, isn't that right?
Yes.
Just as you saw him in person on September 17th, 1990, isn't that right?
Yes.
As you sit here in the same room with me today, are you certain that the man in the dark glasses at the other table is the man you saw outside Max Liquor on September 17th, 1990?
Yes.
And you've been certain each and every time you've testified, isn't that right?
Yes.
Because you've been live with him and seen him in person.
Yes.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Any further?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. You may sit down. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to quit for the night. We're going to ask you to return wrongly by 9. We'll try to start it right at 9 o'clock. Keep the admonition in mind, do not discuss the case, and continue to keep an open mind. Please rise. Do we have anything else for the record tonight?
I don't think so tonight. We just start off tomorrow.
Do you want to start at 8:30 tomorrow?
Are we going to get to plan tomorrow?
It seems unlikely, but if we want to address it tomorrow at 8:30, we can get it done.
Do you think it'll take us that long to address it? Joseph?
Probably, just because we're going through stuff, probably 20 minutes.
Okay. It doesn't matter to me.
Let's do it at 8:30 so we can try to get that out of the way.
Okay.